Welcome gamers, this is No Jutsu. Today we'll be talking about Splinter Cell Pandora Tomorrow and Splinter Cell Chaos Theory. Specifically with this game mode that was very popular back in its day called Spies vs. Mercs. I was 14 and 15 in 2004-2005 when both of these games came out, and these guys would do something very different when it came to online multiplayer. Online multiplayer being in its infancy, it still had a whole lot of improvement to do, but you don't know what you don't know. So we weren't aware just how ahead of its time this game was. It was so fun, man. This video is based around Spies vs. Mercs and the experience that I had and my friends had back in the day when we were playing this and just killing ourselves laughing at the situations and the learning curve of this game, because before this game you had never seen anything like this before. I promise you, there was no game out back then, especially a game that had online capabilities that would let you play a mode like this, and it was so interactive and so unique. I'll start off talking about the spies. Being a spy was really fun in this game, and I think after you got the hang of it, being a mercenary was too. But being a spy was kind of funny because you're almost like a fly on the wall, watching the enemy go by and having to be patient, learning how to use the spy's abilities to the best of your ability. Spies are very agile and very fast, so they can fit in places that the mercenaries can't. So you can go into passageways or go in grates or vents or trapdoors, all type of little things, and make quick escapes. But that also meant you didn't want head-up confrontation. Mercenaries could kill you fairly quickly, and if you didn't know what you were doing, it kind of felt like the mercenaries had an unfair advantage, but they really didn't. Like I said before, it was just a learning curve. You have gadgets on both sides, right? The spies, one of your main gadgets would be the laser mic. The laser mic was used for several different things, and one of the objectives you had in this game mode was to hack terminals, basically getting information, and it was up to the mercenaries to keep you from doing that. They would protect these terminals, like patrol them, and they could put down tech, they could put down their gadgets and stuff like that to like monitor the area for movement. So being a spy, you really had to be creative. For example, you really want to learn the maps. All the maps are designed differently, and they got better in Chaos Theory. So right now we just saw a spy go up the tower. He was real quick, wasting no time. He stole the data, and then he goes to the roof. He deactivates something dealing with the mercenary technology, and then he gets on the zip line, zips down, and the whole time the mercenaries are completely distracted by the other spy. If you notice in watching this, you'll pick up that spies typically don't hang around each other. Especially in Pandora Tomorrow, you really didn't want to do that because it didn't make any sense. There's many objectives around the map, and if two spies are around each other, it's much easier for mercenaries to keep up with protecting the different areas, especially the main areas for the objectives the spies would try to take. So staying separate was really the better idea, and coordinating and communicating with your partner, especially with trying to monitor and see where those mercenaries were patrolling, where were the hot spots. Everybody plays differently, so when you would play against different teams, you could kind of see what approach they were taking. Sometimes you have mercenaries that would just stay in those same areas the whole game, and some mercenaries would never stop moving, because when you have a mercenary that kind of camps, it's easy to sneak up on him and you can grab him from behind. That's another ability that you have being a spy. So really good mercenaries, they did good about setting down gadgets, and then patrolling other areas that may be key spots, and then being able to keep an eye on areas that they weren't in. So being a spy, you really had to be on your A game, and you couldn't get carried away with constantly trying to just, be super secret agent and running around, going in and out of vents for no reason, just hopping out of an area and really not knowing if someone's there or not. You really had to listen and pay attention and use your gadgets at your disposal, like that heartbeat monitor you see at the bottom right there. that device is not for the spy. That's for the spy, but it's not the spy's heartbeat. It's the mercenary's heartbeat. That's gonna help you see if there's somebody near in the area, right? To give you an idea of what's going on or where they are. He threw that chaff grenade down to disable that mercenary's tech, so it's harder for that mercenary to track him as he's trying to get away after he does an objective. You really have to think quick on your feet and not panic. You have to remember when you're a spy, you basically disappear in the shadows. Unless those mercs use their night vision goggles or their radar, some kind of gadget to see heat body temperature, you could not see a spy. Spies basically vanish into the darkness. Pandora Tomorrow was fairly primitive when it came to like the textures and using the lighting, the ambience, but it still was one of the games back then that excelled with using lighting as a part of the map and play style of a game mode. I just really enjoyed being a spy, and after you really learned how to be a spy and get past the learning curve, you didn't feel like the mercenaries were at such a huge advantage. At first it felt like the mercenaries were way stronger, but man, we were wrong. If you notice in his gameplay, this player, he's really good, and he uses his smoke grenades and his chaff grenades very often, and as he should. Other than running away, sometimes that just doesn't do the trick. You have to disable those mercenaries to give yourself some kind of cushion to just disappear. Most players, they like to try to hack most of the time and get the information, but a lot of the success came from giving the mercenaries a lot of grief and playing mind games with them. You could use a chaff grenade in the area or some kind of device to get them to panic and make silly decisions, like leaving an area. You can go in one area, use a device, and they would rush over there thinking you were trying to get that objective, when really you're just helping your teammate out to steal the information on the other side of the map, giving him time. You're just being a distraction, basically. That's why communication was a big deal in this game. And if you didn't have a teammate that had a mic or somebody you're in a party with to be able to communicate, you're gonna have a really hard time, because even just being a mercenary and not communicating honestly, in my opinion, I would say you can get away with being a mercenary and not communicating so much. But when you're a spy, having coordination and communication was probably your greatest advantage in this game, Merc or Spy. Both game modes, talking is the best thing you can do. Maybe the more elite guys, like the gentleman in this footage, these guys are really good. They know the maps, they know where all the terminals are, they can randomly be in different areas. These guys know exactly what to do. There's no question. You have to really move with a purpose when you're a spy and not waste too much time, because you are on a time limit. If you see that in the top right, you only have so long to get stuff taken care of. And there is a way to be aggressive as a spy, but unless you're a really seasoned veteran in this game, you're better off being passive and understanding that spies are very nimble and agile, but also very fragile. When Chaos Theory would come out a year later, they really did make some changes and try to improve this game mode. Of course, you know, it had a great story mode to it, but I honestly bought Chaos Theory just to get back on Spies versus Mercs. And just talking more about the Spies before we get into the Mercs, one of the gadgets that was really cool was the drone that you could use. Spies would now have, I guess it's called EMP devices, not more so grenades, but you could place these EMPs in an area or use them mobily, and they would momentarily disable the mercenaries' tech. Again, it's kind of like a chaff grenade, but it was something, I guess, more convenient. When Chaos Theory came out, I think the biggest improvement was the balancing on the maps. They really did a good job of making the maps have more depth and making the maps fair for both sides. So you had more verticality to the game for the spies, but you also had options as a mercenary. You didn't feel like you were handicapped not being as mobile anymore. but we'll get more into that later. Let's move into the mercenary side and give you a glimpse of what it was like being a merc. Mercs is a completely different world. Very straightforward and horizontal. While Spies play a more vertical game, Mercs play in first person and boots on the ground. Not very fast, but well equipped and packing a punch. To start, Mercs are wearing armor, so they seem to be more durable, especially in direct confrontation. Mercs should win this majority of the time. Patrolling and guarding objectives from the Spies is the name of the game for Mercs. Never sitting still too long, but also having enough wit to trick a spy into exposing himself. Knowing you could be watched at all times, there are several tactics Mercs can take to secure victory. Let me tell you about the gadgets first. Night vision goggles, assault rifles, shotguns, and motion sensors. That lineup sounds like more than enough to take care of the job, right? Believe it or not, those night vision goggles are your best bet. Remember, this is just my opinion, guys. There's more than one way to play this game mode, so I wouldn't be surprised hearing otherwise, but I swear to you, those Spies, man, they basically disappear in shadows, especially when they sit still. You can walk right by them and never skip a beat. There were so many moments, me and my friend would laugh hysterically at Mercs walking right by us, so when you're the Merc, being very thorough can't hurt. This is why it's a good time to dive a little deeper into using gadgets. You have a good amount of gadgets at your disposal, but it's just not about using them or all willy-nilly. It's about knowing where and how to use your gadgets. For example, you'll see right now the player has mine, and you can place that pretty much wherever you want, but it's about where you place it and being creative in spots where a spy may be coming by and just not paying attention. Of course, it's possible it can be detected, but knowing the hot spots and knowing the areas where you should put them is key. Like example, wherever they show the objectives at or what terminals you're guarding, it's a good idea to put mines in a general area where the objective is, because there's going to be traffic through there eventually. So while we're talking about the Mercs and the tech that they had or the gadgets, one of the big changes that Chaos Theory brought was the drone. And remember I said the Spies had a drone too, and they could use it, and you can do things like blind or Merc with it, but I feel like the drone really benefited the Mercs first and foremost. I feel like that gadget specifically was made for the Mercs, and the reason being is that now in Chaos Theory, when you play Merc, you were able to really spy on the Spies. Not like in Pandora Tomorrow. Before, you couldn't really follow those guys, and physically you couldn't be in a Merc, but when you had a drone, you could take that drone and go inside the vents or the hatches or the trapdoors or wherever you couldn't go. You could take that drone and scout and really look and see the activity, the traffic, and if you came across one of them, you could stun them. You could stun them in time if they were out of a secure area that you can't reach. Stun them with the drone, and that gave you time to go in there and make the kill. Chaos Theory really made the game more balanced. How I can explain this is, in Pandora Tomorrow, it was more so based off of timing and using your gadgets correctly. Using your chaff and grenade or whatever you may have at your disposal. But Chaos Theory designed the maps in a way more balanced way, to where it wasn't just about using your gadgets, but also taking advantage of the environment. And I don't mean that just for the Spies, I mean that for the mercenaries. What we've been talking about, the mercenaries, that you didn't have so many choke points, and I would say that's usually bad for the spy when you hear choke point, because it kind of sounds like they don't have an escape route. But for the mercenaries, you didn't really feel like you had to run around the world or take the long way to get to an area. When you learn these maps, they designed them a lot more efficiently in a way to where if you learn the map, you could make the right decision for whatever situation you were in. Some of my favorite maps would be Bathhouse, Cargo Ship, and Bank. Those are the three that I can really just name off the top of my head. I wouldn't say that they're the best maps. I'm just saying personally, the maps that I remember the most. You guys gotta remember this was a while ago when this game came out. So some of you guys listening, you may not even have known that this game mode existed. Maybe you hadn't ran across it. Maybe you did. Maybe you had a big brother that played it and you remembered it growing up. But the last Spies versus Mercs that they came out with, I believe, was in 2013, and that was Blacklist. The one before that did not have it, and it came back on Blacklist. But I was really disappointed, not because of the gameplay, but just at the franchise. I don't know if the numbers were down. I honestly didn't take a look at that. Maybe this was more of a cult following type of game, but when I tell you this was one of the most unique game modes that you ever played, and even right now, I still haven't seen a multiplayer online 2v2 or 4v4, whatever you want to call it, like this since it came out. I don't know why they haven't emulated this or went forward to make another sequel and put this in it. But you know, there are rumors that the Splinter Cell remake is coming out soon, hopefully, and I'm really looking forward to that, because if they do add Spies versus Mercs to it, you guys will really get to experience what we did back in 2004 and 2005. Sad to say, the servers for all multiplayer online Splinter Cell are down. I want to say it was this year for the last one they took down, but as of right now, you can't play Splinter Cell online anymore. That was a big letdown when I was making this video and I found that out. But thankfully, there is hope. You can play this game online, and that's through a Discord. There are still people that host Discords that play this game. It's tight-knit communities that really appreciate this game mode. And all you have to do is find someone who has a link to send it to you. And this would be the perfect opportunity to bring up a great guy by the name of Dorian D. That's Dorian_D. He's on YouTube. He's a YouTuber. He posts a lot of videos, a lot of gameplay of Tom Clancy's Pandora Tomorrow and Chaos Theory. This video would not be possible without him. He was so gracious and responded right back, and I just like to reiterate that I would not be able to make this video if he wasn't such a great guy, and I really appreciate him. So for the last few minutes, I'm gonna show you guys some of his raw gameplay, and this will have his audio up to his game audio. You'll get to just see what a match was like, what the conversation consists of, and just how technical and fun a match of Chaos Theory can be. Thank you guys again. I really appreciate it. Take care.
All right, JR. You feel like doing a little co-op action? Right off the rip, maybe? I don't see anything on the heartbeat, so maybe I could throw you up there, and you can do your thing.
You don't want to come up too?
He's here. One's at bottom of red, so you go for it, partner.
Okay.
Yep, one's in red. His second floor dude might be going around T-ish area, so.
Okay.
I'm just destroying the floor, steam.
Hacking T-room.
Nice.
I think I got him to sleep.
I got one in first floor hallway. I'm gonna try to grab that glass hack, so that gives us that other opportunity, you know?
Okay, sounds good. Oh, he's on to me. Oh no. Oh. Why did you grab the pipe? I didn't want to grab the pipe. He has a mine on the top garden health kit, by the way.
Okay.
Nice. Getting that open. And I grab the disc.
Oh, shucks. They put 2 bombs or mines at Garden 2. Dang it.